I mean, listen, it's still a family film. It's still like a kid's. Yeah. They ain't trying to make Game of Thrones.
No, of course not.
They don't want to scare the kids.
Yeah, exactly. But this ain't Westboro or whatever.
But there is sort of that thing of now we see what dragons can do, how destructive they can be, how they are weapons of mass destruction. Seeing them here, as opposed to like watching the animated movie, watch them here. I was like, man, y'all need to stop messing around with these things.
Yeah,
this is kind of scary.
They gonna kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
They look like lizards now. Yeah. Double Toast's 11th year anniversary party is coming up. Join us for a full weekend of live music, shows, comedy, after parties, a movie screening, and more. Get your tickets by going to dtanniversary.eventbrite.com and use the QR code right there to take you to the site and get your tickets today. And I'll be back at the Broadway Comedy Club June 27th for my own style of sit-down comedy. You'll also be doing some open mic. So get your tickets now by going to doubletoastedny.com. Live action remakes. Can't stand them. Hate them. Don't want them no more, but can't argue with them.
They ain't going away.
They ain't going away. They ain't going nowhere because we make too much money, bitch. I'm creatively, I might not like it, but you can't argue with good business.
That's true.
Mostly for Disney, especially if that mouse is making his money. I told you, I'll make you a pimp.
If it makes money, it makes sense.
Yeah, you damn right. You know what one of the biggest Disney quotes is? I'm being serious. Do you know?
No.
Where's my money, bitch?
I think that's not.
I was like, I don't think he said the bitch part. But.
No, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. See, a lot of people don't know. See, I told you, erasing history. But told y'all, man. Told y'all. Y'all never heard about this, but yes, it is true because, all right, every now and then, Disney might slip up and give you some monstrosity like Snow White right here. You know that.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell is that?
Snow White, which was a big black eye for Disney right there.
Sure.
Yeah, people saw that like, I ain't going up there with that.
Yeah, on the big screen.
Oh, little ass perverts right here. These little creatures up in these damn trolls.
I'm trying to use this wood real quick.
Yeah. Some stories work better when you don't think about them too hard.
Yeah. People like, you want me to go up in there with that? No, hell no. No. And they said the biggest creature of all. You want me to go up there with a brown Snow White? Oh, hell no. No, but for every Snow White or brown white or whatever you want to call it.
Brown white.
Snow brown.
And creepy ass creatures over there. For every one of those, you'll get a Lilo and Stitch, which is still making, as of this recording, huge
crazy money.
Yeah, close to $1 billion.
Yeah. And in just about 3 weeks. Yeah. So again, I can't argue with it. So when Universal, Paramount, and DreamWorks sat back and said, wait a minute, we've been sitting on these dragons for how long? I know they cussed somebody out. Right? You mean nobody showed us we can do something with these dragons, right? You better get your ass out there and put some scales on these dragons and make me a live action remake.
Especially after Game of Thrones made dragons popular again.
Yeah. Boy, somebody dropped the ball on that one. And even, look, this is coming from me. I hate live action remakes, but executive core says, where the hell is my remake at? Come on now.
Line up so you can get fired.
Yeah, people. This is the remake. When did the first one come out?
I think it was like 10 years ago, right?
Was it 10 years ago?
I thought it might
it
was
12. It was 2019. Oh, no, 2014.
2014. So 2014. So this is a remake of what we can say now is a classic. A remake of the 2014 classic, which was animated. 2010.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's the second one.
I
just seen it. I knew it.
I knew it.
It was too late.
I knew it.
I
didn't want to say anything.
I just seen it too.
I didn't want to be that guy.
I know.
Shut up, you're wrong.
No,
I want to say it.
I know. I saw it said second. Like when I clicked on the picture, I was like, oh well.
But I wasn't gonna say anything.
I was like, oh well.
But anyway, 2010.
So 15 years.
15 years ago.
I was a little boy.
It was about, you still a little boy. It was
I knew you were gonna say this shit.
Why'd you say it?
You're my personal hiccup over here. So this is a remake of the 2010 classic, which was animated. Now we're getting the live action version right here. And with this one, of course, they are giving it the realistic visual treatment, but it's always about the story, because with these remakes, one of the biggest things that they do that I think is a crime is that they don't do anything beyond the visuals. Oh, what would it look like in live action? That's cool. Give me your money. It's story, though. And if you're just repeating something you already saw, well, that's kind of cool for the kids out there who might not have seen the original, or, for suckers out there, I don't know, whatever. But I always ask for a little bit more. But now everybody's getting into the act. So I guess we got to get used to them. But every now and then, even for me, as much as I hate these, as much as I do not, I'm against these live action remakes. I protest them sometimes. But every now and then one slips through that kind of chips at my hard exterior and gets to my heart right here. Every now and then.
Yeah.
Is that what we have here? Oh, look at that. Aww. Look at that eye right there.
That face.
Look at that cute face right there. Did that get to me? Who could say no to a face like that? Well, we're about to find out. Did we do that? Let's take a look at this trailer for the live action remake, excuse me, of How to Train Your Dragon.
Don't you ever plug my phone.
So what is this, Jurassic Park again? With
I've never heard of Jurassic Park. I've been to Jurassic Park though before.
I said Jurassic Park.
Oh, and you survived.
It's like the size of my...
What'd you say, bitch?
Well, that's the pixie of dragons.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yeah, I should have painted her green. Should have painted you green for this review.
Yeah, wish you would.
made you spit fire. How you doing, Mama? She's like, you woke me up for this bullshit. Well, a lot of you know the story. I mean, after all, this is a classic. But for those of you who don't know it, we'll do a little refresher right here. So this takes place again on the Isle of Berk, and we're following this character Hiccup right here, who is being raised in a village of Vikings. His father, played by Gerard Butler, who did the voice in the first one of the character of Stoic. His father just happens to be the chief, which is bad because Hiccup is always a little, he's a little bitch. He's making his father always look bad. His father wants to kill him so much, but he has a little love for him. But thing is, so on the Isle of Berk, these Vikings, they're not doing anything. They're minding their own business. They're just raping and pillaging like they usually do, not doing anything. It's a great place, this village, if it weren't for the dragons. The dragons are like pests. Like we have flies, they have dragons.
Well, more like we have locusts.
Yeah, there you go. So, since they're constantly attacking, of course, they're enemies. They kill them. They, tit for tat. The dragons come back and take the stuff from them.
Burn down their houses. Steal their sheep.
Their food. So, one day, little Hiccup befriends a dragon, one called a viper or something.
Night terror.
Night terror.
No one's ever seen before.
Yeah. And he thinks, I hit the jackpot here. This is the one that everybody's really wondering about. The one of the most dangerous, one of the fastest ones. And if I could kill this one, got the respect of my father, everybody would call me a bitch in the village, maybe I'll live, so all I had to do is stick a knife in his heart and they'll be good. But he can't do it because, hey, dragons just happen to not be that bad. They're just misunderstood. But can Hiccup convince the rest of the village, who for decades have been killing dragons? Can he convince them the same? Let me see here. So with this movie right here, man, as far as my opinions of live action movies and then watching this, ain't a damn thing changed with me. Listen, this still feels unnecessary. Mm-hmm. This is something where it doesn't really feel like it creatively, it doesn't feel like it merits a remake. First one was fine. They're not doing a whole lot different right here. Still feels more like it's for the money. Hey, if it's working for Disney, it can do the same for us. We got hits. We got classics. We got animation. So I haven't seen the original in years. And I'm talking about it was probably about 8 years ago, 7 years ago. I saw the original again, and I only watched it in pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And I can still feel this one repeating the original. As I was watching, it was all starting to come back to me, like I was watching the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, the heart that is in that original, they plucked that and put it right back in this one.
That dragon, they got that dragon's heart.
Yeah, that dragon heart. Transplanted it in this one right here.
Operation was a success.
Yeah, not completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
I mean, just the hard part.
You're gonna have some side effects. You will always be taking some kind of medicine or something. You ain't gonna go out. You ain't gonna be running like you were before. You ain't gonna be jogging like you were before. But you're gonna be all right. See, there was heart here with this one. It didn't feel hollow like other live action remakes that are just grabbing cash. It felt like there were things here that what worked in that original, some of that stuff did translate well over here. And watching this, it also felt like there were some things that if there was, and I feel crazy saying this because this is a shallow thing to say, but man, there really were some things that look interesting from this movie, putting them in live action, seeing what they look like. Mm-hmm. And the movie, it's doing the same thing that the original did most of the time. But it makes some nice, if small changes.
Small changes.
Yeah, here and there.
Yeah.
It just adds a little spice here and there, It just really retains the heart of the first film that made the original so strong. That I was showing you this right here. The biggest thing that works in this movie that is carried over from that first one is the bonding scenes with Hiccup and Toothless. And he calls him Toothless because when he first sees him, he look like, hey, they ain't got
you got no teeth. Teeth?
Look like he ain't put a dentures in yet or something. But because in those scenes, there's little dialogue, there's a lot of emotional visuals in there, and it really has a nice score. And I'll tell you right now, I don't remember if that score is from the first one.
I don't know either, but that was something I kind of marveled at. Like sticking around for the credits, I was like, I am so into this score. All of the movie, I kept thinking that
it really is if they did change it, and I can't tell you, so maybe they fooled me, they got me. But if they did change it, it does feel like they amped the score up to adapt to live action. I don't know how the first one was. Maybe it was less whimsical or whatever. And this time around, but it really worked, and it worked. I think the best in those scenes with Hiccup and Toothless. I don't think so.
His last words.
Before he became a stain on a rock somewhere. So I'm not going to say that this is going to work for everybody in this movie. And I'm talking about the look of the dragons, in particular, Toothless. Because I feel that Toothless, yes, he looks a little more real. This time around, they put more texture on him, put more scales on him. Made him look like he does have more realistic texture on him. But it does retain the animation style, the expression, and they retain a lot of the movements in the animation from the original that made him so endearing. And I think they found a good balance between that and putting him in real life in this movie. I mean, listen, it's still a family film. It's still like a kid's. They ain't trying to make Game of Thrones.
No, of course not.
Scare the kids.
Yeah, exactly. But this ain't Westboro or whatever.
But there is sort of that thing of now we see what dragons can do, how destructive they can be, how they are weapons of mass destruction. Seeing them here, as opposed to like watching the animated movie, watch them here. I was like, man, y'all need to stop messing around with these things.
Yeah,
this is kind of scary.
They gonna kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
They look like lizards now. Yeah, big ass lizards.
And they getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. They come out. They get dragons that are on fire while they're attacking. I'm like, man, y'all not gonna win.
Yeah, dragons that are always on fire. And they got the kids out there. All right, now go fight that one.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
What? All one. Now I get to fight this fat ass dragon.
Yeah. The thing with this is that they did a good job at making and I heard an interview about them talking about how they designed these creatures. They wanted, again, in particular, Toothless. They wanted you to look at him and see your pet in him.
Yeah,
okay,
even from the beginning, from the animated movie, Toothless had the mannerisms of a puppy.
Yeah, he had the mannerisms of a puppy and I guess the agility of like a cat.
Yeah.
So it's a flying cat.
Yeah, the cat was kind of weak.
But shut up. But I thought, again, they made some nice changes here. The dragons, even though they look a little more dangerous this time around, I think that they look cool in live action. That's one of the things that I'm talking about where I said that this is interesting, putting them in live action, seeing how they look as real creatures. The flying scenes in this are still really cool. You know, I was looking at that's one of the things that we talked about when the first movie came out. We said, man, for an animated movie, those flying scenes,
the flying scenes were amazing. They took your breath away and we watched a lot of 3D movies at that time. And most of the time we were like, we're sick of these and they don't look that good.
Yeah.
And you got to these dragons and when they flew, the camera followed them in such a way that you're sitting in the audience watching a big screen and you felt like you were flying with them. Yeah.
Because I remember we were saying, we're tired of these 3D movies, but that one worked.
That one, yeah.
and the rest of them ain't gonna be like this.
Right. And the flying in this is good as as live action it can be. I know it's all computer, but I think that's one of the things that doesn't match with the animated movie. It just can't match that feeling of the flying.
I liked it, but I don't think that it. I would agree with you, but I mean,
it's not bad. It's just like you here.
Yeah. But I still thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I still thought they did a good job. It's not going to beat the first one, but I think they did a good job. So, I tell you who I really like. And this is one of the big changes that they did. And people going to hate me for saying this. And I'm just going to take it. Y'all going to whoop my ass for saying this. And I'm just going to have to take it. But so let me find this boy over here. So Hiccup, one-legged warrior at the time. But he started out like this, and I never liked that voice.
Oh, that Jay Baruchel voice.
Like I like Jay Baruchel.
Yeah,
but how you say his name?
Yeah, Baruchel.
Baruchel. Yeah, I like him.
That voice, man.
Well, thank you. Toothless, go high. He sound. He sounded
like Hermie the dentist from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yeah,
he sounded like He sounded like somebody's wife with a manly voice. You can't show yourself. I'm going to kill you. Go high. I couldn't stand Hiccup's voice, man. Yeah. It grew on me. I didn't hate it.
I know. Yeah, it grows on you, but it's just like, okay. Because I'm going to have to learn to live with this.
Yeah. And I love the movie. It didn't ruin it for me. But one of the things that I did like that they did here is that they didn't give him that voice.
Yeah. Something I like right off the bat was the casting of this actor because physically he looks like Hiccup. I was like, bro, you couldn't match that better if you wanted to.
He looked like a handsome Hiccup though.
Well, that was the other thing is like instead of like copying the animated movie to a T and getting a Hiccup just like that, this Hiccup, he's more human. He's not so much of a dork.
Yeah. So sure, he's more handsome. But he's still believably awkward.
Yeah.
And that's Manson Thames. I believe he was in The Black Phone.
Oh, Thames.
Thames.
Because he said it right before. Because it's always pronounced Tim. But he came on saying, hey, I'm Mason Thames.
But he ain't British. That's why.
Right.
He pronounced it literally Thames. He's just 17.
Yeah, he's young.
He's very young. And he has one of the things that I think that I like better than the other Hiccup is that this actor has really great comedic timing. Mm-hmm. To be 17. He's really funny without overdoing it. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of doing it like these little natural things. I think it's probably just good direction, but for him to be so young, he was really funny, man. He was really good. The character of Stoic, who it was voiced by Gerard Butler in the first film. I know people looking at Gerard Butler. There he is right there. And here's his character in animated form. People are like, man, he ain't big enough. I'm like, but a lot of it's just the coat. Yeah, and a lot of it's just being an animated character.
Right. Yeah, animated characters are designed that way. They're supposed to be an exaggeration of whatever the real story is.
Yeah. So Gerard Butler as Stoic, I think he's really good. Now, I'm not saying he was better than the character in in the movie. I think he's very close to his character in the movie, but I think because he's not doing a voice, because he's actually in costume and he's acting, I think that, he's actually, you can feel him performing that character. And I think that with him performing, it just brings a little more to the character this time around, just a little bit. And he really does some funny scenes. And those scenes are in the original too, because I remember them. But he does some funny scenes because there was a lot of scenes with him in Hiccup. Some of them were heartfelt. Some of them were kind of mean. You're not my son. Some of them were very emotional. Some of them funny. But I think that him and the actor, Manson Thames, they had some really good scenes together. And I think, look, I like Gerard Butler. I know sometimes I talk about the movies that he's in, but I like Gerard Butler. And I think Gerard Butler, he had a good rapport with a lot of people in the movie, especially with Frost. What's his name?
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost, who plays Gobber this time around. And they had some really good scenes together.
What am I going to do with him?
That young man actually wants to make you proud.
But he's got a mind of his own. Gets that from his mother. Was a boy.
Oh, here we go.
God damn.
I'm sorry I sat down. I'll talk to you tomorrow, man.
I realize I must be going.
And some things are funnier in live action. For me, just visually. Gobber looking at him, played by Nick Frost, him with that missing arm and that leg, and here it is. Right. I thought it was a funny effect, and it looked crazy, man. Just in a live action character like that. Maybe it's not even funny. It was just funny in a different way. Mm-hmm. I really like that. But so as you can see, I'm not, even with them kind of repeating things. There's a way to do these remakes, man, without just making them feel like you're just doing a rush job with them.
I just don't like the way, the whole premise of like reselling me something that I bought already. Yeah. And especially when they just kind of half-ass it. Everybody loves the Lilo and Stitch, but I was like, this was made for TV. It was made.
Yeah, you can tell. Yeah.
This movie got my respect because it was not. It felt like a theatrical movie.
Release.
Yeah. Just looking at the production, the set, the costumes, and the music, all of it was like, man, they weren't just looking to get a quick buck. They were throwing everything they could into it. On one hand, it's like, why are you copying this? But on the other hand, well, people want things to be accurate. And in so many ways, it is. Yeah. And there's trade-offs. There's certainly a number of things I can go, well, the animated movie was better about this. But when I look at trade-offs, like, yeah, I was against it too. I wasn't at Hemmendinger level, but I was against this. But watching it, I was like, you know what? The thing about putting it in live action is watching it with actual people. Some of it, like the emotional stuff, has more weight, I felt, especially the scenes between Hiccup and Stoic, with his dad. There's a lot of that when things get said, some things mean, some things heartfelt. It hit a little harder.
Oh, yeah.
Gerard Butler, I think, is fantastic in this. I was like, man, I love him in every scene. And he really brought it.
That's what I mean by seeing him perform.
Yeah. There's
a difference between doing a voice and watching a guy perform it.
Right. Yeah, where it has to be on a human but relatable level. And it's just, there's such a, I haven't watched the old movie probably in 10 years or more. I probably watched 2 or 3 times when it came out, maybe one time after that, and it's been a long time. For me, this is almost like watching a new story again. Not quite, because I did remember some things, but it was stuff between the two. It felt to me like there was a little less emphasis on Toothless, probably because the CGI costs money, and more on the father and son. And there's times toward the end I was like, this is a really good Father's Day movie, which is coming up this weekend. And I don't know how many, fathers and sons would be like, hey, let's go see this. But I think it'd be a good movie for them, kind of like Red was for mothers and daughters. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Oh, yeah. Would you think this would be a good thing to go see with your father if your son? Yeah, I think so. Because it's all about, sons seeing their fathers in different aspects. Like there's the scariness, but there's also the love. And it's a way for a father to look at his son and go like, maybe I've been not looking at you the right way. and like meeting you on your own terms.
Man, look at you, Martin. You getting deep over here.
It's just, all that was there. I was like watching it. I was like kind of fascinated by it because I was like, this thing that just seemed like junk food, they've actually put more into it that a lot of people might miss.
Boy, look at Martin dropping that deep knowledge right there.
Uh-oh, I know where it's going.
You sound like you should be better.
Oh no! He got me again.
No. He tried to stop you.
His warnings are always just a little too late.
Oh, Martin.
When he keep letting you talk a little too long.
I know. I was like, I made my point.
Hey, listen, no, but hey, look, Martin, you dropping knowledge like BetterHelp, man. Yeah, you might want to get on there and kind of help these people. People have to stop right now and give a word out to our sponsor, which is BetterHelp. We're talking about online therapy. Great thing about online therapy. See, a lot of times people, they think they need therapy for some real deep things, some real deep problems. Man, sometimes maybe you just want to organize your mind. Maybe you want to improve your relationships, whether it's with your partner, or, I don't know, your dad out there, your dragon, I don't know. And therapy can help out with all those other things, but it's more accessible now thanks to online therapy. And one of the best places to start with online therapy is, of course, BetterHelp. They have over 35,000 therapists. And BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally around the world. And we're talking about the convenience of it. I mean, it's online, so it fits your schedule, and you can do it the way you want to. Hey, you want to do it face-to-face, that's fine. Don't want to show your face? Do it over the phone. And if you don't like your therapist, you can switch at any time, no problem, no cost. All this is designed to help you and make life more convenient for you and fit your schedule. And now, here's something that's really going to put you at ease. If you put in this code right here, betterhelp.com/doubletoasted, you'll get 10% off your first month. I want to thank all of you out there for your support. And I want to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this portion of the show. All right. I enjoyed this, as you can tell. I still think some things worked better in animation than they did in live action. And one of the things that I thought was really weak in this, I did not like these kids. I thought the other kids, the ones that are training with Hiccup to learn how to kill dragons, I thought they worked when they were cartoons. Now they're just annoying humans for me right here. I did not, because that's not too much to them. They're funnier when they're goofy. They're funnier with exaggerated proportions for me, caricatures. I didn't find them really that deep in this at all.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
But I'm just excited to see some real, live dragons up close. I could do without the permanent injuries.
Shut up! This is a thing. They're in the animated film. They're there to be funny, and as cartoon characters, they are funnier. Here, they're just here to be funny, and I don't think there's too much to them. It's not that I hated them. I just didn't find anything that appealing about them. They were funny in the beginning because they always were ready to beat Hiccup's ass. Mm-hmm. Every time he walked on the scene, you think your daddy can protect you. They jumped across tables to kick his ass. I thought that was funny. But after a while, after their one-liners and their flat personalities just kind of being the same throughout, I didn't like them too much. But when I say I didn't like them, I just didn't find anything interesting about them.
Well, I would say this about the movie. I think I thought it was a little rough in the beginning and got better as it went on, especially like the last 2/3 of the last half. But so much of that with these kids, they aren't all that. Their personality's not that great, but also the editing with some of the stuff they say is not good. Like with the kid Julian Dennison, the one from Deadpool. Like he would say something that's supposed to be funny, like reading like spouting some nerdy facts, and the camera after he said it, the camera just kind of linger on him. And I was like, man, cut. And you're making him look bad.
Every time he steps on the scene, if I don't know he's in a movie, I think it's a woman that's coming out. He still looks like a woman to me. But yeah, I'll tell you this, he didn't annoy me as much as he does in other movies.
Yeah, that's true.
He was probably the best one out of the whole bunch.
Yeah.
I think he had the one that had the most personality, but they didn't just spend a lot of time developing them either.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, and I've said this earlier, I've used the word whimsical. I think there was a whimsical feel to most of the story with some of the dragons and and a few other things with the village. And I think that's kind of lost with this, or it kind of clashes a little bit with some of the tones that they're doing. I think that's the thing. Some of the stuff brought to live action, like Gerard Butler's performance and his scenes with Hiccup, they have a little more weight to them in live action. And there's some other things that still feel like it's just a cartoon and it's not matching too much with these tones that they set up. Yeah, the village in this looks more realistic. Well, because I was talking about Game of Thrones, and I'm like, man, there's parts of this like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, right.
And then there's some parts of it that look like How to Train Your Dragon, the animated film. And I thought, some of it.
Or the ride at Universal Studios.
Oh, yeah, which they didn't waste no time. Before Shameless, forget Toothless, where's Shameless at? They did not hesitate to promote that ride, did they?
No, they did not. We're glad you came to see the movie, but before that, let us show you the ride. I'm surprised they weren't selling tickets to the park outside the theater.
But the village is sort of dark and dry and looks like something like Game of Thrones in a way. Some of the costumes look like that. Of course, they were a little more colorful in the animated film. And for the parts of the movie that were feeling, again, more like that animated film, I thought maybe the village could have been more colorful. Because even though the dragons look more real, they still have a cartoonish look to them. They still have
some of them, yeah.
Yeah, some of them still have an animated feel to them. And I thought maybe more the movie should have matched that than the other way around. However, the movie does have some great cinematography. It has some great shots and scenery. Mm-hmm. All these really lush green hills and cliffs. Yeah, I thought, okay, that looks nice. And we saw it in IMAX.
Yeah,
Minimax, but IMAX. It was good. I also feel like the movie wraps up really quickly too.
Do you?
No,
because they're no different than the animated.
No, it's not that different from the animated movie, and that's the thing. I think when watching an animated movie, we're kind of used to watching that with animated films. But this being in live action, I think they do this thing now where they see something and then they start narrating what they see to explain what's happening because now we got to get this movie going. And so it feels kind of rushed to me. They figured things out quickly, and I just thought that the story doing it that way worked better in animation than it did.
It's funny you say that because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but
I get tired of animated movies doing that.
Yeah,
and since it's based on that, I guess they were like, well, I guess we don't have.
And I don't like animated movies doing that either. I kind of accept it because all right, I know for the kids we got to get them hell on out of here.
You know how much work it takes to put that thing together.
Yeah, that too. So maybe that's why I wasn't crazy about it here because I just don't like that at all. So that weakness of the story maybe still maintains here. I thought it was also funny that you don't see it in this, but I also thought it was funny that maybe you do. Let me see if I can find. Maybe there's some Black Vikings up in here.
Yeah, I saw some.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
No, I'm talking about in the trailer. I don't think
they made the trailer.
No, I don't think they did. I don't think they made the cut. Maybe someone got black and they got burned right here. But they try to do that thing where they try to be diversely modern. And so they're peppering the background with, 2 or 3 black actors and maybe one Asian back there. And I just thought it was funny how they briefly tried to explain multicultural Vikings.
Yeah.
And so, they're trying to have their black and yellow cake and eat it too because they want to. They're doing this thing to show we're diverse, but y'all keep y'all's ass in the back. And also, we know that since you're here, people going to complain that, hey, there ain't no Black Vikings, but also guess what? Ain't no dragons either. So
well, there'll be dragons before there's Black Vikings.
or I accept the dragon before I accept the Black Vikings.
No Black Vikings except Warren Moon.
Stronger parts from the original still work here. It's helped by tiny tweaks here and there. Or as I said, there's some parts that really look interesting, translate into live action. But overall, it's still a new coat of paint on something that's old that didn't really need it. It was still looking good. It was still fine. But those heartfelt moments from that movie and the way they bring them here and that rich score that they have, it makes this sort of rise above the average live action remake. I think that there was some reasons to truly do it. They're small, which makes this, again, not very necessary. But, hey, you're here. So it's a matinee for me. It's just fine. Not great. I won't even say it's all that good. It's fine. And I enjoyed watching it while I was there.
I do think it's good. It's a surprise. It's I would go as far as to say of all the unnecessary live action remakes, this is the best one. And it's the attention to detail and what they did. And yes, if you go in thinking like, well, it better match up to the original movie, I would ask, who are you? Why would you even expect that? But it does a much better than average job of doing that. And it shows a lot of respect. And yeah, and it captures the things that make the heart, like you said, the heart of what makes that original movie work. And that's the biggest thing to pull off. And it's not gimmicky. There's changes they make, but there's no, well, we're going to swap this race, we're going to swap this gender, but this time we're doing this with it. That could have been fine if they were really going for that, but it seems like they were just going to not just give people, the nostalgia, the thing they want to see again, but also for a new generation of people who were born in the last 15 years who maybe didn't see the original movie. It's a high matinee for me.
So kind of like Julian H, I kind of went into this one to hate it, like dead ass, because it's just another live action remake, and I kind of hate live action remakes. So I'm like, I just feel like they're so like heartless. And I was feeling like that throughout the first 10 minutes of the movie.
It's slow in the beginning.
Yeah, so that first 10 minutes, I was like, boy, it's another one of these live action bad remakes. But after that first 10 minutes, I was like, you know what? I'm actually enjoying this film. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen the original. And I was like, you know what? I'm very much having a fun time watching this. The characters I thought were better than I thought they would be. I think the biggest character problem I had was who's the boy that played the main dude? Forgot his name again. Mason.
Matt, what you say, Manson Thames?
Manson Thames.
Manson Thames. So I felt like whenever he was on screen with other actors, I felt like he wasn't that good. But when he was by himself, he was a lot better. Mm-hmm. Like when he was in the scene with like Gerard Butler, like I was like, oh, you could definitely see the acting difference here, especially like between those two. But I thought when he was in scenes with the dragon, I was like, okay, these are really good scenes. I thought the best scenes in the movie were like the training montages with him and the dragon and those dragon scenes and those flying scenes. I thought those were definitely the best. Another character I did like at first, but when her motivation changed, I kind of like dropped off the character. Nico Parker. Yeah, so I liked her at first because I'm like, okay, I understand her motivation. Like what she wants to do, I'm like, I'm with this. But then after a while, her motivation switches and it changes. And I was just like, I don't know if I like this character anymore.
That's part of that was one of the parts where I said they rushed this movie. I didn't want to say too much, but there's a development between her and Hiccup, and I thought they rushed that. I didn't think that was convincing at all.
It was so weird because like she has like a romantic relationship with Hiccup, and I was like,
it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was like,
this is a repeat from the first one.
It wouldn't happen that fast.
Also, I don't think there's too much to her character either. I thought,
right.
Somebody asked me about her, and I was like, I think she's actually kind of a boring character in the movie.
Well, it didn't look like that at first.
Yeah. She was very interesting at first.
At first she's very interesting, and then once that motivation changes, I'm like, all right, you're another one of these flat characters. But I'll tell you guys, man, Gerard Butler, another character I want to bring up, or another guy I want to bring up. Like I know a lot of people be down in his movies, man, but I've always defended Gerard Butler. I think he's a phenomenal actor. Well, when he wants to be. And he realizes
he's a great actor. Don't let anybody tell you he's not. He is.
It, bro. I've seen so many movies like, look, bro, he's a bad actor. There. But I just feel like he's just in a bad movie. I feel like, but
he makes a lot of bad decisions.
Career-wise. Yeah. But I've always felt like he's a really, really amazing actor. But yeah, man, end all, I absolutely love this film. This is definitely one of my favorite live action remakes. Now I don't know how this is gonna stand up when I actually see like the animation, or the original, the cartoon, or whatever. So I don't know how it's gonna stack up when I see that. But for right now, yeah, it's a matinee.
Your reviews never go with your ratings.
What are you talking about?
I absolutely love this movie. It's amazing. Matinee.
Matinee ain't bad.
No, matinee's good.
Okay, I say matinee because I probably will never go see it again.
Yeah. Also, something you must know, and I should have said this at the beginning of the review. You better get your ass up and leave this movie. Don't wait for the end credit thing because they might tell you, hey, there's something special at the end. It ain't nothing, all right?
It's nothing.
Not a damn thing.
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of mad at our rep for having everybody stick around for that. Because normally I would have just left.
It is.
That's what I wanted to do too.
It is nothing, y'all. I'm telling you right now, you're going to do it because your curiosity is up now. And you're going to play yourself. I'm telling you, get your ass up and leave. And I'll put it this way. Whatever you see, At the end of that movie, it is in the movie. You see it. You see it at the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I would just say whatever you see at the beginning of this movie is right at the end. You saw it already. Don't waste. Go home. Don't waste your time.
It's not even like a sign that says Hiccup will return.
No.
Spoil it. I can't spoil it. I mean, because it's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing to spoil.
It ain't like damn Iron Man comes out or something. It's at the end of the end credits. At the very end of the movie, it's a drawing. It's a drawing that Hiccup is making, trying to figure out how to help Toothless. You see him drawing that in the movie. It's the same drawing. Just get your ass up and go. Take your kids home. Yeah, spend some time with them.
They sure did set us up with that. I left the theater and walked back for that damn credit scene.
Only not upset because I would love the music they were playing.
Oh, the music was good, yeah.
You know, Kirk was back there laughing at us,
cackling, rubbing his hands.
They're really staying. I got them. Get up, go home now. Or would you look at that? You made it to the end of the video. That means you really like us. So just go ahead and press that like button and subscribe while you're at it. And check out our other channels, our social media like Instagram, TikTok, and our Patreon where we have new stuff coming up all the time. And we'll see you on the next video.